Dmitri Shostakovich, one of the most influential composers of the 20th century, lived a life marked by contradiction, fear, brilliance, and survival. In the West, he is often remembered as a dissident artist, covertly resisting the totalitarianism of Stalin's Soviet Union through coded musical defiance. Yet in his later years, Shostakovich publicly embraced the regime he once seemed to mock. He joined the Communist Party, accepted state honors, and even spoke out in support of Soviet policies. How can we reconcile these two images, Shostakovich the subversive versus Shostakovich the state functionary? The answer lies in the perilous tightrope he walked as an artist in one of history's most repressive regimes. Early genius and sudden censure. Shostakovich rose to fame early. His first symphony, written at age 19, stunned audiences with its originality and maturity. Throughout the 1920s and early 1930s, he became a symbol of Soviet modernism, exploring avant-garde forms and daring musical ideas. But in 1936, everything changed. Stalin himself attended a performance of Shostakovich's opera Lady Macbeth of Mtsensk. Shortly afterward, an infamous article appeared in Pravda, the Soviet state newspaper, titled "Muddle Instead of Music." It denounced the composer for formalism, a vague charge meaning his music was too intellectual, too foreign, too inaccessible for the Soviet people. This denunciation wasn't just criticism, it was a threat. Artists had been arrested, exiled, or even executed for less. Terrified, Shostakovich withdrew his modernist Fourth Symphony before its premiere and composed the Fifth Symphony, subtitled, A Soviet Artist's Response to Just Criticism. To this day, scholars debate, was the Fifth a genuine act of artistic repentance or a masterful act of irony? Its tragic undercurrents and ambiguous finale suggest layers of meaning hidden beneath the surface. A Life in Fear, the Stalin Years. Shostakovich's life during Stalin's rule was marked by constant fear. He kept a packed suitcase by the door, expecting arrest at any moment. His Eighth Symphony, 1943, written during World War II, was initially celebrated but later criticized for being too bleak. His Ninth Symphony, expected to be a grand victory march after the Soviet triumph in World War II, turned out to be a playful and sarcastic piece that infuriated authorities. In 1948, the composer was once again denounced in the Zhdanov Decree, which attacked prominent Soviet musicians for formalism and failure to create people's music. Shostakovich was publicly humiliated, fired from his teaching posts, and forced to write propaganda music to survive. But even in this environment, he continued to write subversive and deeply personal works in private, like the String Quartet No. 8, which he dedicated to the victims of fascism and war, but which many believe was a veiled self-epitaph. Post-Stalin rehabilitation and party membership. After Stalin's death in 1953, Shostakovich was rehabilitated and gradually restored to official favor. He composed more freely, and his 10th Symphony, with its stormy portrait of Stalin in the second movement, was seen as a long-awaited act of artistic vengeance. However, in 1960, a stunning shift occurred. Shostakovich joined the Communist Party. To many, this move was deeply disappointing. For Western observers and dissidents alike, he had come to symbolize resistance to Soviet oppression. Now he appeared to be endorsing it. But the truth may be more complicated. There is strong evidence that his party membership was not voluntary. The composer was under intense pressure, possibly even blackmailed. He was physically frail, emotionally worn down, and had family and students who could suffer for his refusal. Public support, private doubts. After joining the party, Shostakovich held official titles, traveled abroad, and made public statements that aligned with Soviet ideology. He condemned dissident writers like Boris Pasternak and signed open letters supporting government policies. But in private, those close to him spoke of a broken man. Composer Galina Ustvolskaya, his student and confidant, later described him as deeply tormented. Solomon Volkov's Testimony, a controversial memoir allegedly based on Shostakovich's secret thoughts, paints a portrait of an artist forced to wear a mask to survive, his public compliance hiding deep inner dissent. Though Testimony's authenticity is debated, many agree that Shostakovich's music tells its own story. Beneath the bombast and patriotic themes lie sarcastic winks, grim laments, and coded despair. The music speaks of a man who could never fully escape the regime but who never fully surrendered to it either. Was Shostakovich a dissident, a hypocrite, or simply a man crushed by his circumstances? Perhaps the most accurate answer is, a survivor. Shostakovich's journey from daring modernist to a seemingly loyal Soviet figure reflects the impossible choices artists faced under tyranny. He navigated denunciation and favor, exile and celebration, all while crafting music that has outlived the system he both served and feared. His legacy is not found in slogans or party speeches, but in the music itself, where irony, suffering and courage resonate across time. In this way, Shostakovich was never truly a state apparatchik. He was a silent rebel, composing truths too dangerous to say out loud.